Welcome to News with a View, a Fat Cat production, hosted by myself, John A. Costa, imparting my brain cells to you so you can know what I know. All right, Sunday, January 19th, 2025. I think we all know what year. Trump moves closer to the White House he fought for and won. Tomorrow, by this time, we will see Trump's plans are 10 executive orders. I don't know. I'm hearing 100. Wouldn't that be great? But I don't think so. January 6th protesters will be his first action for a complete pardon. That is certain. Now, I'm not certain if the anyone who had violence attached to them, I'm sure Bundy is going to look at that and advise Trump. But anyone with just simple trespass, they were in the hallways, they were not listening to the Capitol Police. Yeah, okay, they're going to be gone. We will try to be live tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning and making commentary throughout the speech that Trump will make, his inauguration speech, which should be interesting for sure if his last one was the model. But if we can't go live, we will have it, of course, on media, and we'll put it up as soon as possible. I'm almost certain I got all the bugs worked out. And that will also go up on Facebook. Now, the news with the View. Reuters reports Germany's ambassador to the United States has warned that incoming Trump administration will rob U.S. law enforcement and the media of their independence and hand big tech companies co-governing power, according to a confidential document seen by Reuters. The briefing document dated January 14th and signed by the ambassador of Germany, Andres Manelis, described Donald Trump's agenda for his second term as one of the maximum disruptions and will bring about a redefinition of the constitutional order, maximum concentration of power with the president at the expense of Congress and the federal states. The German foreign ministry had said the U.S. voters chose Trump in a democratic election, and it would work closely with the new U.S. administration in the interest of Germany and Europe. The outgoing government of Chancellor Scholz largely refrained from direct political or public criticism of Trump since the election, but the ambassador's confidential assessment offers a blunt view from a senior German official. So this was a briefing from just an ambassador. That was not the consensus of the German government. That was just a very bitter ambassador. So enough said about that. But of course, that was in the news. So you know what happens. It goes on the news. Got to be true. If it's against Trump, it's got to be true. We'll go to the other side of the spectrum. Reporting from The Beast. Comedian Bill Maher joined right-wing pundits weaponizing California's wildfires to lambaste the state's government's progressive-leaning policies in his Friday monologue on HBO's Real Time. Meyer said his argument is wokeness the main reason for the fires? Of course not, but he said it's also not wrong to associate some of the unforced errors of our government made with things normies I guess that's us. I don't know. Uh, that normies see as a hallmark of uber progressive politics. So he's kind of saying us and them, but he can see why us might think of them in the way we do. Questionable budget priorities, high taxes that get you nothing, making everything about identity politics, virtual signaling overseas, instead of tending to the nuts and bolts at home. Now, that's a jab at Mayor Bass, who was away at the time when the fires happened. Come on, Bill. I mean, if she had a crystal ball, yeah, she'd be in the White House or something, but she didn't. You could blame a lot of things on her, and the political makeup of California, at least in the Los Angeles area, on how everything is not all the power of the governor of the mayor. That a lot of this, her actions go through committees and compartments, and it's not real clear cut. So, yeah, Bill, you were a poster child for knocking normies. The issue I have with Mr. Maher is Bill Maher is that he reports facts as much as he will use left's imagination of things and then push them as facts. So, an example would be, Trump said that the underbrush was a major problem. You got to do something about it. And, Bill Maher is saying, yeah, that's right. He's right. But then when liberals go, Trump's going to take all our freedoms away from us, he'll also go down that road too and go, well, yeah, look at what he's doing. Looks that way to me. Nothing, it's Bill, either become a comedian or stay a comedian or become a politician, because you're not going to do both of them very well. Get off the fence. Another Reuters. President-elect Donald Trump is poised to seize greater control of the federal government than any other modern president before him when he takes office on Monday. Now, Reuters really seem to have a problem with Trump. And they're feeding this line. They're going full steam. Charging ahead with plans to dismantle what he and his allies call the deep state. According to two sources familiar with the transaction discussions. Transition discussions. Of course, they're unnamed sources, and they could be getting this information sitting on a bar stool. The effort could get underway as early as Trump's first day as president, according to one of these unnamed sources, with an executive order aimed at stripping job protection from an estimated 50,000 career federal employees, allowing their replacement by hand-picked loyalist appointees. Well, I don't know if that is going to happen, but I think there's going to be an executive order demanding that 99% of the workforce return to their jobs in Washington instead of staying at home. And probably the estimate is that 50,000 of these people will refuse, will try to get out of doing it, and adios. Trump will just turn around and go, hey, you abandon your job. You don't show up on this day. We consider you to have abandoned your job. We are no longer allowing, except under special conditions, you know, for you to work from home. So you got to come back to the office. Now that I can see him doing. And those people that don't, yeah, he's going to replace. I don't know if they'll be with his loyalists. I don't know. I don't. Well, I know for a fact the government doesn't take a loyalty test. So screw you, Reuters, and your fake news. But I will say that if you look at how big the federal government grew under Biden, you might understand where Trump is going. Check it out. You could just Google, how big did the government get from 2020 to 2024? But the biggest spike in that chart, in that graph, will be from the Veterans Administration under the PACT Act, approved in 2020, which is funded, which is, if funded correctly, should be left alone. I mean, you got an administration like the Veterans Administration, there's always going to be, problems. It's so big. But basically, if there's nothing really systemically wrong with what they're doing, let's protect our veterans. Now, NBC. Joe Biden ascended to the highest office in America with a pledge to unite the country, strengthen his party, and defend democracy. And this is NBC saying this. Instead, the 82-year-old's Oval Office denouncement, he leaves the nation divided, a party in tatters, and people questioning the self-described institutionalist respect for the rule of law. All right, 1 and 2 are correct. The pardoning and clemency and commutations, presidents do it. So I don't see that as I don't like how he did it, but he can do it. That's allowed. End of story. Many Democrats are blaming Biden for the handing the White House to Donald Trump. No, you want to blame someone for handing Donald Trump the White House? You go to Pelosi. You go to Obama. You go to the Democrats. You go to the media, who all said, Biden is wonderful. He's never been better. Why, he's as fit as anyone could want an 80-year-old to be. He can do the job, and he can stick out 4 years. He can do it. When he said he left because of expressed doubts about his ability to serve, and he pulled out of the race, what took him? Why didn't the people who were with him all the time, and that was Pelosi, that was Schiff, that was a lot of people, and said, hey, Joe, you can't do this. We got to change course. And, we will protect your legacy. So, and after all of that, and then going and telling the American voters, and dismissing people's general concerns, going, hey, is he okay? I mean, I don't know. And they come out, no, he's great. Don't believe the people on the other side of that aisle. They're lying to you. Joe Biden, yeah, okay, he stumbles. So did Gerald Ford. You get some words mixed up. That happens. Look at everything that's going on with the guy in his life and the world that he's trying to take care of. So he can't put some words together. NBC, this was not knocking the guy when he is down, but using facts. But hey, NBC, you knew most of this and said nothing to your viewers and outright lied to all of us, which to me is even worse than what the Democrats did. Because we expect politicians to lie. We don't like when the media does it to us, and does it in cahoots with those lying politicians. That's called a conspiracy. I think the FCC should look into that. Yeah. Having a television station or a radio station is not a right. It's a privilege. Maybe that should be looked into. Not censorship. We'll put someone else there. Or punish you and fine you and do whatever we need to do. But you guys need to be put in your place a bit. A little old school slapping around. Not too bad. Just enough to know, hey, if we come back through that door, ain't going to be pretty. All right, to continue, and to be fair, reporting from Fox News. TikTok. President-elect Trump said, I will issue an executive order on Monday to extend the period of time before the law prohibits take effect so that we can make a deal to protect our national security. The president-elect continued. The order will confirm that there will be no liabilities for any company that helped keep TikTok from going dark before my order. So, what he's saying, I know what the law is saying and what the mandate is. But go ahead, break it, and I'll take care of it. It won't be a problem. Now, do you think that's right? I don't. I don't think that's right at all. If he wants to sign the executive order saying that TikTok come back up, but telling them, hey, any company that helps them stay up right now, in essence, might be in violation of some law or the act or whatever, the executive order, who knows? I'm gonna smooth it over for you. Yeah. I don't like that. So, his explanation for this was, America deserves to see our exciting inauguration on Monday, as well as other events and conversations. Well, it's going to be televised. I don't think there's going to be a network that's not covering it. YouTube's going to be covering it. Facebook will have it. It will be covered. And TikTok users can go elsewhere to get that source and not be banned or, so. I have a problem with it. It's not the right thing to do. And you're coming out of the gate already with a problem. And I've said that I will go after any politician that I feel not doing what they should do. So, Donald, I love you, and I'll still stand behind you. But you get to the point, you got to be careful. And this was, and again, this is the other part, the other shoe that falls. As for the proposed national security deal, Trump said he would like the United States to have a 50% ownership position in this joint venture. It could be worth billions, maybe even trillions. By doing so, we save TikTok, keep it in good hands, and allow it to stay up. Without U.S. approval, there's no TikTok. With our approval, it's worth hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe trillions, Trump wrote. Therefore, my initial thought is a joint venture between the current owners and new owners, whereby the U.S. gets 50% ownership in a joint venture set up between the U.S. and whichever purchase we do choose. TikTok account on X dedicated to releasing policy updates posted in a statement later Sunday saying, in agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in the process of restoring services. We thank President Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties in this endeavor, and to provide TikTok to over 170 million Americans, allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. It's a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States. So as long as we have some American company who owns it, 50% of TikTok, this makes it okay? Yeah. I have to come back to this. You know. This almost sounds like the old days, where a guy walks into a guy's shop and goes, hey, you got a pretty good deal here. It's nice, clean, nice people, running it good. Be a shame if something happened. And I know you have insurance and everything like that, but do you really want to have to go and do that? And maybe after the second time, they won't give you insurance and they won't cover everything. And, I'm looking for a business like this. Not to take over. Just get a taste. Yeah. So, not happy about that. And I kind of figured this was going to be the TikTok deal, and this is why I said when I started all this, I wouldn't go to TikTok. Because it just didn't smell right. I might have a cold, but I can still smell. All right. Another headline out of Fox News. As elected officials and curious spectators swarm to the nation's capital ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's swearing-in ceremony, which will now occur indoors because of the severely cold temperatures, law enforcement remains on alert for lone wolf attacks. And they said lone wolf actors are always extremely significant to law enforcement personnel who are trying to safeguard the people that are attending these events. Sergeant Matthew Fagina, a retired patrol commander with over 25 years' experience with law enforcement, told Fox News Digital, one of the reasons they are always a concern is they can be very unpredictable and they're driven by extremist ideologies. That means they try to carry out their mission at all costs. Now, the threat of a potential lone wolf attacker was highlighted after a machete-wielding suspect attempted to get through the magnetometers and X-ray security as Trump was paying respect to the former President Carter. Now, they caught him, and they stopped him, and who knows what he was planning to do. I mean, the 44-year-old suspect was granted a conditional pretrial release after a hearing just days prior to Trump's inauguration. So they released him. Okay, I'm sure he's being followed, but come on. They cut this guy loose? It's got to be something where they put up on these federal buildings and state buildings and local buildings that if you're caught with the following items, boom, 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 a machete, because I know I always keep a machete. You never know when you'll end up in the thickets or in Burma and you have to start hacking your way through the Amazon. So I'm prepared, right? That's what everyone carries. You got to be kidding me. There got to be signs on these buildings saying that you will be arrested and you will be held until it is determined that it will be safe to release you. And if you do this, you can expect not to be released in a reasonable amount of time. Now, if you don't want to go in the building, hold on to your machete, hold on to your gun, hold on to whatever you got on you, and walk the other way. Because if you walk through here and we catch you, which we will catch you, yeah, you're going to get locked up a while. You're going to have a lawyer, you're going to have everything else that you're entitled to, but you're not getting out for quite a time until we make sure who you are and what you were doing there and why you were carrying a weapon. Just want to know. Yeah. Amazing. Senator Lindsey Graham, another Fox News report, and this was a report that he was on CBS. He had a tense interaction on Sunday during a live interview with Margaret Brennan on CBS Face the Nation, or we used to call it Face the Folks. Graham told Brennan that he was ready to vote to confirm Kash Patel, President-elect Donald Trump's pick for the FBI director, and believes Patel confirmation hearing will expose him to be a very qualified man of the law. All right, he is. He's got some credentials. The remark came after Brennan quoted former U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr's memoirs, about Patel. Patel had virtually no experience that would qualify him to serve at the highest level of the world's preeminent law enforcement agency, Barr wrote in his 2022 memoirs. So now, Kash Patel that name must have been kicked around when, around all these top dogs. And Barr, for whatever reason, probably felt, or as he did here, that he's a nice guy, but he doesn't have the legs, he doesn't have the experience for it. Graham said Barr was wrong when he wrote it and was wrong now about Patel. He said he takes his advice on the nominee from former Rep. Trey Gowdy, who worked with Patel. Kash Patel was a public defender. He was a prosecutor. He worked with Craig Gowdy about the Russian hoax, Graham said. So I do think he has the experience. He has the trust of the president. Now, remember what I said in the other podcast? Trump is looking for people that he can trust. And you can say loyalists, but people that he can trust. His last time, he picked people, and yeah, I like using the word no bueno. And Graham said, I'm ready to vote for him because I know him too. See, you never ask about the Russian hoax that he exposed, Graham continued. People on the right believe that he was part of the solution, not part of the problem. I don't know if people thought of him as a problem. I didn't. I knew of him. I didn't think he'd rise to where he's going to rise to, but I don't have a problem with him. And again, it's pretty clear cut on what you can do as the Attorney General. You are the second, well, actually, you're the third top dog in the legal branch. Because honestly, you have the president here and the Supreme Court here, and then the Attorney General down here, and then the Department of Justice, and it feathers out. Graham then talked about situations in the Middle East and its relations to the world stage. With that, the terrorist group Hamas released 3 hostages from Gaza hours after the ceasefire deal with Israel took effect, after a brief delay Sunday. So, 3 women were freed to the Red Cross, which will then deliver them to the Israeli Defense Forces. The crowd watched on TV, cheering as good news emerged 15 months after the October 7th massacre of civilians by Hamas. Earlier, Benjamin Netanyahu told the Israeli Defense Forces that the ceasefire would not begin until Israel had a list of hostages expected to be freed. I think there's like 33 of them still, they don't know about. Since Hamas has not given the names of the hostages, by the time the ceasefire was to start, IDF continued to operate and was still striking inside Gaza. At least 8 Gazans have been killed in IDF strikes since the ceasefire was set to begin, according to the Hamas-run agency. Well, Hamas, you cut a deal, and then you start backing away from being able to fulfill your obligations. You're not even, the ink's not even dry yet. I honestly do not think Hamas will keep their word. And I think they'll go, well, there's other factions here that's not Hamas. This is, Hamas 2.0 over here that we have no control over. Wipe you all out. Wipe you all out. And teach anyone else that if you attack unprovoked, I don't care what the history book says, we were deprived. You had a freaking city. You were able to build underground tunnels. You weren't deprived of jack shit. You don't release these hostages, I would make sure that there is nothing left for you to claim as Gaza. And then I'd let the people out and let them turn on you and turn you guys into what they did to Mussolini and Gaddafi, then I'd make you that example to the rest of your little pals out there. And then I'd be poking my head up over the land and looking towards Iran. So, I said in the other podcast, I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust any of the Arabs. Except, to a point, Saudi Arabia. The names were due to technical field reasons and added, it is committed to the ceasefire deal announced last week. The terror group, that's when you have to call them a terror group, released a statement after the ceasefire began, pledging to the people of Gaza to be the trustee of their rights and defenders of them until the complete liberation of the land and holy sites. So they're sitting there going, yeah, this is just going to, we're stopping for donuts and then we're going to continue going after the, all the way in. Whatever they look for, from the ocean or the sea to blah, 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 whatever their stupid thing is. This will not work. This will not work. You're dealing with people that no matter what you do to them and crush them or hurt them, they're getting up and coming back at you. So you know what you have to do? You got to exterminate them. You don't kill, 60 rats and leave 10 of them and go, all right, that's good enough. Because you're going to have 60 rats and 100 more. You wipe them out. The whole world today must stand in reverence for the legendary steadfastness of the people in Gaza and the appreciation of their patience and sacrifices over the course of 471 days, Hamas said. Hamas, you declared war. The people should be throwing you off roof buildings. With the entry into force of the ceasefire, we affirm our commitment to implementing the terms of the agreement, which is the fruit of the steadfastness and patience of our great people and the legendary steadfastness of our vigilant resistance in the face of Zionist machine of terrorism and killing, the statement continued. Yeah. How do you think, folks, this is going to end? Do you think Hamas is going to go, kumbaya? What do you think is going to happen? They're going to release some of these hostages and go, the other ones are dead. Or hey, you bombed them. We don't know. We got to find them. And they'll go, we got a list, we're trying to find a body to give back to you to show, Not our fault. And then about 3 months later, a picture will come out of these people. And they go, yeah, they were found. But, we're not giving them back now, because, you were still fighting us over there. You wait and see. You cannot trust these people because in their faith, they are not to trust the non-believers. And you can lie to them and you can cheat them. You can kill them. You can enslave them. So, what's a piece of paper to them? It's a joke. It's a joke. Well, the Israeli cabinet approved the deal early Saturday morning for a ceasefire in the Gaza that would include the release of dozens of hostages and pause the war with Hamas that began after the terror attack of October 7th, 2023. The deal would allow, yeah, here, there's 33 hostages to be set free over the next 6 weeks. 6 weeks! 6 weeks? They come now? They come now? Or, you won't have this part of that city left. In exchange for hundreds of Palestinians imprisoned by Israel. Yeah. I understand Israel, they're treating their prisoners under the Geneva Convention and the Uniform Code of Conduct. And I'd be telling my soldiers the same thing as they told my dad, in World War II in the Pacific, and thousands of others of our fathers. You take no prisoners. Take no prisoners. That happened in the European theater. You just, to what end? It started, and we took very good care of the German prisoners of war, and the couple of thousand maybe Japanese that we were able to capture, or who surrendered, which was a handful. Because when they had our prisoners, we didn't want them, treating them badly if we treated their soldiers badly in our prison camps. So there was a reason why we fed them, and we took care of them, and we housed them, and they were taken pretty good care of, considering on how ours were taken care of. Now, I will say this: if you read the history books, always read a history book. It's amazing. When the war ended, when we won unconditional surrenders, yeah, those POWs got treated a little bit differently. It wasn't all, ice cream every night and, working and getting fed the way you were. And it changed a little bit if you read the stories, and it's actually very interesting. But the remaining hostages are set to be released in a second phase that will be negotiated during the first phase. So there's no guarantees. Our heroic prisoners have an appointment with freedom starting today, and this is our firm pledge with them always, until they break the shackles of the jailers and breathe the freedom in the skies of Palestine, Hamas said in a statement. Yeah. This was their statement. And what do you think? I think that Hamas will not deal with them the way that we would think that you would want to be dealt with. And this will be a major problem. It won't be a problem for Trump. Trump will, he'll tell Netanyahu, yeah, you tell me what you need. Give me a list. And I think Trump is going to turn his attention to Iran, to the Hutus, to Yemen, and he's going to go to Saudi Arabia and go, hey, fellas, what do you think you need? What can we do to help you? And he's going to put an end over there. Syria, he's going to put people down in Syria and work with that leadership and go, hey, you said you weren't going to fight with your neighbors. So we're going to give you some help. We're going to see how that goes. And we want an independent Syria. And we don't want cross-border fighting from Syria into Turkey. Turkey has a right to have their borders secured. Israel has the right to have their borders secured. They also have a right, the nations in that area, Lebanon, not to have Iran sending shipments to terrorists still located in those countries. So, what, Iran will call them freedom fighters, just like, we have said the Contras. I mean, it's mixed up, but you attack one of our allies, one of our friends, and with Trump, you can expect an immediate payback on that. So, in saying that, this might be a little bit shorter than some of my other discussions and wisdoms, and I gave you a lot to digest today, and see, my brain works at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I know most of you are 55 miles an hour, so sometimes I gotta slow it down, mostly for you, Bob. But all kidding aside, history is amazing. It's great to look at. It's great to read. It's great to understand. And if any of you are like history, go online and download if you can. I haven't done it because I actually have. And I bought Harper's, binded Harper weeklies that are all bound together for the years, 1858 through 1887, all the books. And they're just all the papers, all the print in there. And you read the stories. And you read the history that was being reported then and what you're being taught or what was really happening. And, you get a view of the news. That's important. All right, everyone. As always, say a prayer for the victims of the hurricanes and the fires. If you make a donation, make it to a registered charity. Don't be a victim helping a victim. I'll try to have well, actually, tomorrow we will go out. We will go out. So I'll be working tonight, working out all my bugs, doing a little editing here. Not much, but we should have a good show tomorrow. We were toying with the idea of setting up shots and saying, when Trump talks about, brings up this or says this word or does that, or, you got to take a shot. But, yeah, I might do that instead, like, with one of those, mini hot dog minis or something. Eat it, I can't drink like that. All right, everyone, be safe, be well, be happy. Thank your Maker for all the good things you have, and try to understand why bad things happen to good people. And with that, I'm going to fade to black.